Do you want to learn how to create games? Or do you want to dive into the world of VR software? Or maybe you just want to create a mobile game for yourself? Or you're interested in creating 3D videos like this? If you literally have zero idea about how these things work and want to start from scratch, this video is for you. In this video, I'm going to teach you everything you should know to get started with Unreal Engine. I'll give you an overview of how the blueprint system, how the material system, how the level design system, how the object manipulation inside Unreal Engine work. So without delaying any further, let's start this creative journey. So the first step that you need to do is go to Google and type Unreal Engine and then go to unrealengine.com. On unrealengine.com, go to the rightmost side and press the download button. So when you press the download button, you will actually see the minimum specs required to run Unreal Engine. So just make sure that your PC or laptop that you're using has these minimum specs. If these requirements are satisfied, then just scroll down and download the Epic Games launcher. So when you download and install the Epic Games launcher, you'll have to log in with your Epic Games account. Just go to Unreal Engine's website and create an account. You can create an Epic Games account using Google. And then when you open the Epic Games editor, just log in with your Epic Games account. And when you log into the Epic Games launcher, just go to the left side of the Epic Games launcher and click this Unreal Engine button. When you click this button, you would see these tabs at the top. So just go to library, and on library, you would see this engine versions button. Beside this text, there is a plus button. Just click on this button and select the Unreal Engine editor version that you want to install. Let's select the most recent one that is mentioned here, which is 5.0.3 in this list right now. And just go ahead and install. Once the installation is complete, it will run through verification, and once the files are verified, you can just launch Unreal Engine. So right now I have a 5.2.0 and 5.1.1 installed. So let's go ahead and launch 5.2.0. When you start the Unreal Engine launcher, you'll get this kind of menu. This menu is the starting point of any kind of sample project that you want to build. So for example, let's look at the simulation tab. Inside simulation tab, you can create an AR experience. You can create a VR experience. You can go to this automotive product design tab. So there would be sample projects for a car photo studio, or there would be a guitar configurator app. There is a handheld AR app. So these kind of sample projects are already there built inside Unreal Engine. Once you download the engine, you'll get access to all these projects. Similarly, there is an architecture tab also. So you can just go and select any of these and just create a project. There's also film, video and live events tab. And finally, there is a games tab. So let's go to this games tab. Let's select the first person shooter. So this is a first person shooter project. Then on the right side, you can select whether this project is a blueprint project or a C++ project. Now, what is a blueprint project and what is a C++ project? Unreal Engine allows you to create any kind of 3D experience or game or VR AR software, either using C++, which is a programming language, or using a node-based editor. All the functions that are available on the C++ side will also be available on the blueprint side. So for someone who has no programming experience and still wants to understand how games are made, I think you can start with blueprints. Today we are going to start with a blueprint project. So let's select blueprint. Let's select the platform as desktop. Quality should be maximum. And we also want starter content. Just tick this starter content project. Don't tick ray tracing. Right now we'll keep it as off. And then let's name a project as Unreal 101 and press create. Do you like the wallpaper? It's actually an animated wallpaper I got from Wallpaper Engine. When the project loads up, you'll see a screen which is something like this. Whatever you're seeing on screen, right? That will come up when you start your first person shooter project. In order to comfortably operate Unreal Engine, I would suggest please get a mouse and a keyboard. That will really help you to navigate inside the engine. So the first thing that I want you to do after this project loads up is move your mouse cursor to this button at the top. This button that I'm hovering over. So this is a play button. Press this button and see what happens. As soon as you press the button, the game starts. Now just click on the screen, and when you move your mouse, you should be able to move a camera. Now use your ASWD keys to move this character, just like you do in a normal game. You already have a project where you can move. Now press the spacebar. You can use the spacebar to jump. So the first thing that I want you to do is try moving around the level. See, there are a lot of blue cubes and there are some ramps. Just move around the level and explore what is happening. Try jumping over some ramps. Try jumping over these cubes. This is a sample project that you will get out of the box in Unreal Engine. Now, if you observe, you will see that there is a gun here. If you press F11 on your keyboard, it will turn to full screen. Now I can play the game in full screen. So now you can just go near this gun, pick up this gun. Now you have a gun in your hand. See the running animation of the gun, right? Now just press your mouse buttons and try to shoot. Okay, there are sounds as well. So whenever you shoot, you'll see that a ball pops out of the gun. So let's try to shoot these blue cubes. So just play around with this level and see what happens. Let's press F11 again so that we are back, and press escape. This was a sample project which was already there inside Unreal Engine. You can press play. So this play button is used to start your game. So for moving your camera normally inside Unreal Engine, when the game is not being played, that time if you want to move inside the level, if you want to go near any kind of object, you have to press the right click button and ASWD. So right now I'm pressing the right click and pressing ASWD, and I can move my camera anywhere in the world. And now I want you to try one more thing. Just try clicking on one of the objects. So you can click on all these objects and you can select all these objects. Just observe what is happening after clicking. So I'm clicking this blue cube, and on the right side as well, you see SM_cube3. I can click on these cubes and know what this object actually is. So on the right side, you have this menu called outliner. So outliner lists all the actors present in the level. Basically any object that is inside your level, you'll get the list of that objects here. You'll get the hierarchy graph of all those objects on the right side. This is called the outliner. You can even click on this outliner and select different cubes. You can select this cube and it will highlight in the outliner. You can click on the names inside the outliner and you can select any kind of cube. Now let's try moving the objects. Once you select any kind of cube, let's say we selected this cube. So you'll see that there are 3 arrows that pop out when you select this cube. These 3 arrows basically denote X, Y and Z axis of your world. So if you want to represent anything in 3D, first thing that you need to define is your coordinate system. So these 3 axes basically define the coordinate system of the world. Just click on any object and observe these 3 lines. These 3 lines are always in the same orientation. So this is the world axis. What you are seeing right now is the world axis. Now if you go to the right side, if you click this gizmo which has a world like symbol, it will turn to local axis. Just see the difference between the world axis and local axis of this object. So right now it's local axis. Now it's world axis. So world axis is basically the coordinate system of the world, and local axis is the coordinate system of this object. So why is this useful? I can click on this arrow and I can drag it to move it around any axis, any world axis. I can move it up, I can move it left, I can move it. I like to move it. Now this object is up. Press end key. This object will touch the ground. Just take any object in the air and press end key, it will come down. Now let's go back to our blue cube and select the local axis. Now since it's local axis, see this cube is turned and that's why this local axis is also turned. I can move it along the local axis of the cube. You can choose how you want to move your objects. You can move them along world axis, along local axis. Basically it facilitates how you want to place your world. On the top right side, we had selected this select and translate. Now let's select this button, which is select and rotate. Similar to translation, you can also rotate your objects. See this way I can do it. So right now I'm rotating along its local axis. Now if I change it to world axis, I can rotate it along world axis. Similarly, we also have a scale button. So here, if I select this center cube and drag it, make it small or big, I can scale it. If I want to scale it along one axis, I can drag one arrow and scale it along any one axis. If I want to scale it along one plane, then there is a small line here. You can actually select this line and drag it. Now it will get scaled along one axis. You can make it smaller. So this way you can manipulate all these objects inside Unreal Engine. Now let's reverse all these values. Now let's select this blue box, set the axis to world. If you click on this blue box, on the outliner, you would see that we have selected an object. If you look to the right of this object, you'll see what is the type of this object. So in outliner, you'll have this item label, which is basically the name of the object. And this type basically specifies what kind of actor that is. So all the objects in our level are actors. This cube is a static mesh actor. If you want to dive deeper into what each actor is and what each class is, just go to the documentation of Unreal Engine and just type static mesh. Open the first link that is available. Now it will tell you about What is a static mesh? Static mesh asset are basic unit used to create world geometry for levels created in Unreal Engine, right? Similarly, there are other kinds of meshes as well, which is skeletal mesh and all. So if you're not able to clearly understand any term, just go to the documentation and search for that term. You'll understand what each class is about. So let's go back to our engine. So inside engine, once we click on this cube, you see the name and the type of the actor. Now, whenever you are selecting any object, that object is highlighted in the outliner, and just below the outliner, there is a details pane. Now, what is this details pane? The details pane basically gives you all the details regarding that object. Now let's click this blue cube. There are a lot of tabs here. From all these tabs, just press all. And in all, you'll see what is the material of this cube. What is the physics property of this cube? What is the collision of the cube? What are the lighting properties of this cube? What are the rendering properties of this cube? What kind of LOD it uses? So all the properties related to this cube are reflected in the details pane. So if you look at this transform tab, there's a location tab. You can just click on this and drag this value and see the cube is moving left and right. You can move it along X, you can move it along Y, you can move it along Z. Similarly, you can rotate it along X, rotate it along Y, rotate it along Z. You can even scale this object on various axes. So for example, let's scale it along X, Y, Z. Now let's press play. You are into the level. I picked up the gun and I see that I have a large cube here instead of the small cube. Now if I shoot this large cube, it will behave like a large cube. So this way you can manipulate different objects inside Unreal Engine. Now let's try one thing. Let's make a few steps using these blocks. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select this rotate button. I'll rotate this cube. Then I'll use the scale button. I'll scale this cube down. Right? So it looks like this now. Now I'll select this translate button. Translate this cube down. Now I will select this axis. Press the Alt key and drag. I have another copy of this cube. Now I can again press the Alt key and drag. I have another copy of this cube. One more time press Alt key and drag. I have another copy. Let's do that a few more times and create stairs. Now let's press play again. So just see, all our stairs have fallen. Now why did this happen? This happened because all these cubes are actually simulating physics. Now, how do we change anything about these objects? How do we change their properties? How do we change if they are simulating physics or not? How do we change these things? So just press escape. Select all these objects together and go to the details pane. Above the details pane, you'll see that there are 5 selected actors. So just go below. There would be a physics tab. Below physics, there would be a simulate physics button. So this button decides if these objects are going to simulate physics or not. So just switch it off. Now if I press play, see, all my stairs are intact. This cube has fallen, but all these cubes are intact. Even if I hit them, nothing will happen. Let's just take our gun and try hitting them. So if I hit this cube, it will move. This one also moves. This one also moves. But let's try hitting these. Let's try hitting these stairs. Nothing happens because these stairs are now not simulating physics. Now let's just try jumping over these stairs. So I can actually jump and come to the top of the level. This is how you create any level. So you bring static meshes in the level and you create that level. All the beautiful levels that you see in the games are made up of these kind of static mesh objects. Okay, so you are able to move around in Unreal Engine. You are able to select different objects inside Unreal Engine. You are also able to change a few properties, like you are able to change the location, rotation, scale. You are able to change whether that object simulate physics or not. Just check this block. I have selected this block. I'll move it up. If I press play, it doesn't fall down because it is not simulating physics. Now I'll just select it, go back here and press simulate physics. If I press play again, you'll see that that box has fallen. So this is just one property of that object. There are multiple properties that you can change. So we have different kind of objects in our level and we can change anything about those objects. Now that is how games are made. When you shoot a bullet, your bullet is a static mesh. Your gun is also a static mesh. The wall that you see, the buildings that you see, everything is a static mesh. Now let's make some more modifications to our level. So on the left side, there is a menu called Place Actors. So this menu allows you to place any kind of object in your level. If you just hover over all these tabs, you'll see that this is recently placed, this is basic, lighting, shapes, cinematic, media played, visual effects, geometry, and so on. So there are multiple things that you can place inside your level. Let's go to shapes and let's select a cube and bring it in our level. Let's select a sphere and bring it in our level. Let's select a cylinder, bring it in our level. Let's select a cone, bring it in our level. Now let's press play again. Now I can directly start interacting with these objects. If I'm hitting the sphere, the ball bounces like it's hitting an actual sphere. Now I can just select this cone and set its physics simulation to on. Now if I press play, you'll see that this cone is down, and if I hit it, it moves. So it's moving. So it's now, right now it's moving heavily if I'm hitting it. Now let's do one thing. Let's go back to the cone and let's increase the linear damping. So this linear damping is 0.01. Let's press it to 10. Now press play again. Now if you try to hit this cone, it's not moving as much because there is a lot of linear damping. Its linear motion is slowed down because of the damping factor. Now let's select the cone again and let's increase its angular damping also to 10. So you saw that cone was rotating heavily. If I set its angular damping to 10 and its linear damping to 10 and play the level, now see, the cone doesn't even move much. It doesn't even rotate much. This looks so cool, right? It's behaving like a feather, or like a more harsher feather. It's a totally different kind of effect. Now if we again select it and if we reduce the linear damping to 0 and angular damping to 0, basically no restrictions, then I think it will fly away. See, it's flying away now. Oh, it flew away. It's out of the level. Yeah, so in this way you can select different objects, you can move them, you can change different properties about them. You can also place different actors. Let's go to this lights menu and select a point light. Now you can click and drag and drop a light inside your level. As soon as you bring this light inside your level, you'll see that it's actually affecting all the objects around it. Now as you change the properties of this cone as well as these blue stairs, you can also change the properties of the lights. So this details pane is common for everyone. You can change everyone's properties from here. So let's go to the details pane of this light and change the light color to red. So there is a red light. Similarly, just press Alt and drag. You have another red light. Now let's not make this light red. Let's make it blue. So we have a red light. Let's move it this side. So we have a red light on the right side and a blue light on the left side. Now if I press play, see, I can see the light on the left side. I can see the blue light as well as I can see the red light. Now with whatever changes we have made to this level, let's try to export this project. Here there would be a button which has platforms written on it. If you click this button and go to Windows, because I am packaging on a Windows machine, if I go to Windows and I say package project, it will ask us the location. Let's create a folder called build and just select this folder. As soon as you press this package project button, your PC will start building this project. And here at the bottom, you will see output log. Output log gives you status of what is happening inside the engine. If any processing is happening inside the engine, that will be shown in the output log. You can use this log for debugging, for writing print statements inside the object. You can use this log. So right now the project is packaging. On the bottom right side, you'll see that we are packaging project for Windows. If you click show output log, it will open this output log. So yeah, let's wait for this project to build. So the project is built now. And if you see the output log, you'll see these kind of messages. Stage command complete, package command started, package command completed, build successful. So this states that your game is built successfully. And now what you have to do is you have to open the folder where you have saved the build. So right now I do not know what that folder is. So what I'll do is I'll go to the Windows pane, and in the content browser, I'll click content browser 1. This will open up the content library of this project. Let's click on this first person folder. Let's go to blueprints and let's select any of the files. Now right click on this file and click show in Explorer. So this will actually open up a folder where your content is placed. Now here you can go back to the project name and go back to build folder. In build folder, you'll find Windows. If you have built that for Windows, you'll find a Windows folder, and there is a Unreal 101.exe. Let's just double click this exe and play. Make sure you close your engine before running the game so that you can easily run this game, because Unreal Engine will take some bandwidth from the GPU, right? So to avoid any kind of hanging or jutter, just close your engine and just start that exe. Now you can see that you can move. So this is the packaged version of the game. So you have your game ready. Select your guns and just fire. If you have successfully built this project and you are able to play this project, I would say congratulations, because you have just created your first game using Unreal Engine. You can move around, you can shoot bullets, you can also climb these stairs that I created, and we should also have those red light and blue light which we placed here, right? So whatever changes we made in the level are reflected in this game. And now let's close this game, press Alt F4. And let's go back to this game folder. When you go to this game folder, you will see that there is this Uproject file. Uproject is the main file for your project. So if you double click it, you'll be able to open this project again. So you can see that the changes that we made here in this level are reflected now. Now let's go over to the landscape tool of Unreal Engine. I'll just give you an overview of what landscape tool is. So first, select this wall and delete it. If you are able to see my cursor, just go to this selection mode, click here and go to landscape. You'll also find a shortcut here. It's Shift+2. So if I click on landscape, these green lines appear. And on the left side, you'll see that there is a menu. There's a menu which will allow you to create any kind of landscape. Now, if you increase the resolution of this landscape, see there's an overall resolution. If you increase it, you'll see that these lines have increased this side. Let's reduce it. Lines have reduced. Similarly, if you want to increase or decrease the number of quads, just select like 7x7 quads. See, there's a small landscape. Select 255x255. There's a big landscape. Let's go back to 31x31. There's a smaller landscape. Just click create. Once you press create, it will start creating this landscape for you. Now you'll see that wherever you are hovering on the landscape, there is a circle here. If you want to get rid of this, just go back to this landscape mode and select selection mode. Now you will be able to select all the parts of this landscape, and you can actually move this landscape up and down. So see, as I'm selecting this landscape here on the right and moving it up and down, that changes are reflected here. So right now our landscape is connected with our plane. Now let's just press play. Now again I can select the gun and I can start walking on the landscape as well. So I've come outside. So right now, all our landscape is flat. Let's make changes to that. Now go back to this landscape mode. You'll see that this circle appears again. Now just start clicking around the landscape and see what happens. So if you click, you'll see that you can actually create small hills around here. So let's modify this level a bit and create these hills. You can even select different kinds of brushes. So on the left side right now I've selected the circular brush. Let's select the star brush. So see, I am modifying this landscape using this star brush. Let's select this pattern brush. See, I'll be modifying this level using these patterns. There's also, see, there are different options to modify this landscape. So you can use all these things. You can even reduce the brush size. So right now let's reduce the brush size and let's paint this part of the landscape. See, you can modify this landscape this way. Now if you press play, you'll see that this landscape has appeared in our surrounding. Go on top of the stairs and you'll be able to see the complete landscape. See, you can see this landscape around you, right? You can even shoot your bullets on this landscape. Now this landscape looks really bad, right? It just has a checkerboard pattern. Let's go back to this selection mode. And now let's try to change things about this landscape. While creating the project, if you remember, we had checked a tick box with starter content. That means our project has shipped with a few starter content. Inside your content browser, you'll find a starter content folder. Go to the starter content folder. Just go to this materials tab. You'll see that there are different materials that you can apply. Materials are the classes inside Unreal Engine or the description of how an object should look. So if you just select any material, you drag and drop that on any object, that object will start showing the properties of that material. Right now we have a grass material. Let's select a brick material and put it on the floor. See, the floor is looking different now. Now let's select the landscape. Select all these landscape streaming proxy, which are basically all the parts of the landscape. And now drag and drop this landscape material here. So you'll see that our landscape is now completely green. Now let's play this level. See, all the changes that we did are reflected here. Now your level is colorful. Your floor is also not this checkerboard pattern. And you can get on top of these stairs and you can see the complete landscape. See, it's that easy to modify things. Now Unreal actually ships with different editors. If you go to this outliner, you'll see that apart from static meshes, there are other actors as well. Let's just sort them by type. So you'll see that there are static mesh actors. Then there is a directional light actor. So let's select this directional light actor. If you press F, you'll go closer to that object. Let's say I'm lost in this level and I want to go closer to this level. Just select any object inside our level and press F. So you'll focus on that object. So there is a directional light here. Let's just select this directional light and rotate it and see what happens. So I selected this rotate gizmo and I'm now trying to rotate this light. See, as I'm trying to rotate this light, the shadows also change. So let's make it look like an evening scene. So my sun is this side now. Let's bring it this side and let's make it evening scene. Let's press play. See, all the lights are now looking so good, right? The complete level is looking so different now. You can see the sun is setting on this side and we have these mountains, we have these clouds, and I can even shoot different objects. Similarly, we have fog in the level. We also have sky atmosphere, skylight. So these are different objects that define different properties of the engine. We'll be going in details of how these things work as we progress. In this video, we'll just focus on the overview part. We selected this ground material and we gave it to the landscape material. Let's just double click this ground material and see what it is made up of. See, so there is this node based kind of editor. And here you can define the final properties of your materials. What is the final color of the material? Is the material metallic? Is it specular? Is it rough? What kind of position offset do you want to apply on this material? So all the properties of basically how this object is going to look are defined in this editor graph, which is known as material editor. I won't go into the details of material editor in this video. We'll cover that in a later video. But let's just understand that each mesh that you see in your scene, each object will have some materials. So this white cylinder, if you go to its material, see that there's a basic shape material. Now click this button and you'll see that it's a white material. So see, in this material graph, the white color is given to the final base color and the roughness is very low. So this is the white material that we are seeing. Now let's do one thing. Let's just right click, type constant and give this specular and metallic value to this. Let's set this constant to 1. So right now the metallic and the specularness of this material is 1. So our object should look very smooth and very shiny. Let's set the roughness value to 0. See, now this material is completely shiny. Let's save this material. Now view it in the level. Let's just play and see how this material is behaving now. You see, it's so shiny now. You can actually see the complete world inside this object. See? I can even see my gun hanging here. See, you can see this point light here. Here also you can see this light. See, so this is the power of materials. You can change different properties inside this material editor, and then your material will start actually behaving that way. So you can make it reflective, you can make it smooth, you can make it rough. All the coloring that you want to give to your mesh, that is decided inside this material editor. Now let's go back to our project. Let's go back to starter content. Inside starter content, you'll find a particles folder. Let's double click on this. Inside particle folder, there would be fire, smoke, dust, spark. So let's just drag and drop a few particles inside our level. So let's take this fire and drop it inside our level. Let's take this smoke, steam, drop it here. Let's take this spark, drop it here. Now let's play it. So are you seeing these sparks? You can actually drag and drop these sparks inside the level. You can also see this fire. You can see this smoke, steam coming inside the level. Let's go back and open what this particle is made up of. So if you open our particle, you double click it, you'll see a particle editor. So just like material editor defined the visual properties of this material, particle editor will actually define how this particle will behave. So for example, if you take a look at all these 3 different particles, you can reduce the camera speed by clicking on this button and selecting the speed. So if you take a look at this, see that there are a lot of particles coming out of this particle system. If you see the fire, it's a different kind of simulation, right? Now there are not many jumpy particles like this one. These particles are flowing. Similarly, these particles are also there, but they are traveling slower than the fire and slower than this. So all these properties, like what should be the color of the particle, how many particles you are going to spawn, what is going to be the lifetime of the particle, what is the initial size, color, if it uses GPU or not. So all these things like particle properties you can define, and this is the particle editor of the Unreal. So we went over the level editor, we went over the particle editor. Similarly, if you go to starter content, you will find that there's an audio folder as well. You can drag and drop any kind of audio inside your level. So for example, if you hover over this file, you'll see that it's a sound cue file. You can even play it and listen to it. See, this is how it feels. Let's drag and drop this file inside our level again. So now our level is sound enabled. If you press play, see, the sound has started. So already a level that was looking very boring now has started to look very, very interesting, right? All the things that we discussed are not very interactive, right? This fire is behaving in the same way all the time. This light is on all the time. These objects are static. Only this one is moving, that too because of physics. But now how do you define different behaviors inside the engine? Like I'm pressing play, and now if I'm pressing my buttons, my character is able to move. So there is some level of interaction. Now how does that interaction come to play? Also, if you're going close to this gun, I'm able to pick it up. I'm not able to pick up any other objects. So what is specifically defined in this particular gun such that I'm able to pick it up? So let's click on this gun. See, if you click on this gun, you'll see in the outliner that it's BP pickup rifle. It's a blueprint. Now what is a blueprint? A blueprint is any object inside Unreal Engine that you can write code on. So for example, let's just select this BP pickup rifle and let's just click edit BP pickup rifle. So if I click edit, it will open the blueprint editor. So this blueprint editor basically defines all the properties of this rifle. So you'll see that around the rifle we have a sphere. So this sphere is basically the collision box of the rifle. So if you go back to this BP pickup rifle and go to this viewport will show you what objects are there in the blueprint. On the left side, you'll see the names of the object specific to this blueprint. So there is a difference between this blueprint and this level. This level was the level that we are going to play in the game, and the blueprint was the object that is there inside the game. Now you can actually define properties of all these collision boxes. And where do we define these properties? We define these properties inside this event graph. So see, inside event graph, there is this box. Basically what it means is, when I press play and I am able to move, this is the player, or this is the pawn that I can control. And this is the object that the pawn can interact with. So this defines the collision boundaries of this object. If we go to BP pickup rifle, which is this object, we say that on overlapping with this sphere, see, read properly, on component begin overlap. On overlap with the sphere, we check if the other actor is the first person character. Basically, is it the character that needs to access this gun? If it is the character, we add BP weapon component. So we add that component on our character. So as soon as I'm stepping on the gun, I am getting the gun, destroy actor. So as soon as I get this gun, the gun that is there in the level will disappear. So if I press play and show that again, as soon as I'm overlapping this box, I get the gun and this gun disappears, right? So you don't need to worry about like how this code is working now. We'll go over the blueprint scripting part later. Right now, just understand that this is an engine and this is how you set different properties. This is how you make interactable objects. So this gun is a blueprint and this is the blueprint editor. If you drag and move this blueprint editor, you will be able to write any kind of code here. So this code is not a regular C++ code, but more like a visual scripting code or a node-based editor. Now we have a BP pickup rifle. Let's right click and search for begin play. So event begin play is the first method that is called on any object. On Unity side, that method will be start. So if I go to event begin play, if I search for print, there would be a method called print string. Select this method and let's set this value to hello from BP rifle. So inside this BP rifle, inside this rifle blueprint or rifle class, on starting of the game, I'll print hello from BP rifle. If you play this project, see on the left side, you see this. Let's play it again, or let's just go back to this BP rifle. Just press this drag and drop arrow and set this duration to 5 seconds. Let's go back to the level and press play. See, on the left side, you can see this, right? Hello from BP rifle. Now let's do one thing. Let's go to the select mode. Select this BP rifle, click Alt and drag. So there are two rifles now. Now, since there are two rifles, this method should be called twice. Once in rifle 1 and second time in rifle 2. Let's just play it. See, now this method is called twice from both the objects. Now this log is visible on the screen. Also, it is visible in the output log. So if you go to your output log, if you search for rifle, you'll see that there is this log, hello from BP rifle. Hello from BP rifle, right? In this way, you can edit any existing blueprint or existing class. Now let's call these objects blueprints, okay? You can edit any existing blueprints. You can edit any existing class. Now these are all the classes that were already present in the level. What if you want to create a completely new object? How do you do that? Just go to your content browser, just click right click and select the kind of object that you want to create. Do you want to create an animation object? There are these many animation objects. Do you want to create any kind of AI object, any kind of audio object? What about blueprint object, FX object, gameplay object, input object, media object, texture object, paper 2D object. So there are multiple types of classes that you can put inside your level, and each class will behave in a different way. So there might be this animation class which supports some kind of animation system. There can be some kind of AI class. So whatever NPCs that you create would be using these kind of classes. There would be some audio class, blueprint class. So right now what we want to replicate is a blueprint class. So let's go to this blueprint class and just click on this. It will ask you what kind of blueprint you want to create. Now there's a big list of blueprint classes. If you press this arrow, you'll find there's a huge list of classes that you can create, and each class will have different behavior. If you hover over each class for some time, you'll understand what that class is for. So for example, actor. An actor is an object that can be placed or spawned in the world. Okay, so this is something that we might want. Also, most commonly used classes are here. So let's select this actor, and we have a new blueprint class here. Let's name it my test underscore BP. And now double click on it. Now if you double click, there is nothing inside this blueprint. Now we want to add something. Go to add. So this is particularly for this class. Don't confuse it with the level. This is the object that we are editing. You can click add. Here you can add different things. So let's add a cube. Let's also add a sphere. Now let's place this sphere on top of this cube. If you click this browse button, it will take you back to this object, and let's drag and drop. Now see, this is a complete blueprint, a blueprint which has my sphere as well as my cube. It's not a static mesh anymore. If you go to the right side, see, these spheres are static mesh. This is a static mesh actor. But if you click on this is a blueprint actor, my test blueprint actor, right? Now let's play again. See, this object is there in the level. I think right now we are shooting 2 bullets. Let's get rid of the sound. See, just observe one thing. If I'm pressing play, if I'm shooting, I'm actually shooting 2 bullets. And this is because I think there were 2 guns here. So this is how you need to take care of things properly. If there are 2 guns, you should not be able to shoot 2 bullets. So there is a bug in this game. At the end, they were not wanting to have 2 guns, but we placed 2 guns, and that's why we are hitting 2 bullets. Okay, so let's go back to this blueprint that we created, and let's click edit my test BP. And here for our cube, you'll see that it's basic shape material. For sphere, it's basic shape material. For this cube, let's change it to some other material. Let's change it to basic asset material. Let's press play. See, now the cube is of a different material and the sphere is of a different material. And both of these are the part of the same blueprint. Now let's do one thing. I had earlier explained you, right, that there is a begin play method. This is called at the beginning of the level. So let's drag and drop this sphere. So this is a reference to this particular sphere. If you want to modify any properties of this sphere inside the code that you have, inside the blueprint code that you have, you'll have to take its reference. So go to event graph, drag and drop this sphere, and pull out this node from here. Now you'll have a menu here. Here type simulate physics, set simulate physics. Now let's connect event begin play with set simulate physics and just set this to true. Now what will happen is whenever we are pressing play, this sphere should fall down. Now let's check that. See, the sphere fell down and we should be able to hit the sphere as well. See. If you made it this far, a big congratulations to you because you just took your first steps into starting your journey of the 3D world. From here onwards, we'll start diving deeper into each component of Unreal Engine. We'll be creating multiple game mechanics so that you understand how each and every system inside Unreal Engine works. If you like this video and found it helpful, please share it among your friends. And if you haven't subscribed, do hit the subscribe button. Till then, take care. Have a nice day. Bye bye.